Hello guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures, and today we're doing another episode. This will be the 5th part, believe it or not. I've only started the series a couple months ago, and now we're already on part 5. Wow. So this will be part 5 of the Accurate Dinosaur mod collection, where we take a look of mods that people have made that made the animals look more like how they would have life, and they make them look more like their fossil counterparts. So today we've got a lot of really big herbivores, so I decided that I'm going to keep the herbivores because a lot of them are really interesting, really huge edits. I'm going to keep those for a bit later, and we're going to start with the carnivores, because we don't have that many carnivores at the moment. We'll just start with the carnivores and then move on to the herbivores. Plus it just shakes things up a little bit, it'll be quite fun. So first we're going to be starting with Suchomimus, and this is an edit done by Black Frog, so we'll just have a quick look. Okay, so now we can see here, we're going to capture mode. So we can see the differences here. See, the skull has been changed. It's a little bit thinner and such. We'll look at that, and we can see a lot of the changes in the back. We can see the original on the back has changed. As Black Frog always does, he always puts a list of his changes, and he also puts some alt species, but we'll get into that shortly. We'll just have a look. We also have little taller ridges along the tail. See, the arms have been extended a little bit. I think the neck's been lengthened a bit. He also gave it some speculative lips, but I think they look quite nice. I don't want to get into an argument about lips, so I've had enough of that. But I think that looks quite nice, how he did the lips on this one. And he added this little crest on the top. I think he's changed some other things. I think he made the boot a bit more noticeable. As I said, lots of changes that won't be visible. And how we did this was he also added a couple of extra mods. Well, not mods, but he added a couple extra animals. He added, with the changes, he also added Irritator, which is from the late Cretaceous of Brazil. And was so named because when they got it, the fossil, it was from a bunch of fossil deals and it was in poor condition, so they were quite irritated, so they named it Irritator, which is, of course, from Brazil, which is not too different. It's a little smaller, it's got a more of a boxy head, not too different in terms of proportions. And then he also added Ichthyovenator, which is from Laos, which is in Southeast Asia. But what makes that even more notable is that it's got a more prominent sail, very similar to things like Concavenator. That's probably the best example. And it goes around the hip and then dips down a bit. That's what it's most famous for. But yeah, so you can either pick between all these three species. Not gonna lie, I think Black Frog, if you're watching, because they Ichthyovenator and Irritator are more similar in size to Baryonyx, might be a good idea to transport these models onto Baryonyx to make them more accurate size. But other than that, pretty good, excellent. Since a lot of them are not known for too much, Ichthyovenator is only really known from the hip and the neural spines. Not too many major changes to that, but looks very good. Hopefully you guys either one's good, all three are good, so whatever ones you want, just pick and it'll be fine. Very, very nice though. I really like that Concavenator. No, not Concavenator, but I just spoiled it. And we have Suchomimus. Looks quite nice. So here we've got next species here. We've got Metrocanthosaurus, which comes with another 3 alt species, but I'll pick this one. I just spoiled it, but it's okay. We'll have a look at the alt species that I picked here. Oh, now that was a glitch. Never seen that before. Oh wow, that is the first time I've ever seen that. Anyway, we'll have a look at this. Is a concavenator, which is from Europe, and is a primitive Carnotaurus, unlike the Metrocanthosaurus, which is a Metrocanthosaurid, which is more an allosaur than a Carnotaurus. So this is one of the three. This is concavenator, which is very famous because of its weird neural spines on its back. That's why I added it, because we already had Metrocanthosaurus on twice. So I thought it might be a good idea. We can see all the changes here. I don't want to have them fight right now. We'll just have a look at them. You'll see here, you can see a lot of the changes in the head. We can see the crest here has changed, more noticeable. Looks more like a Carnotaurus than an allosaur. See the neural spines back here. It looks quite good actually. I quite like it. And the three alt species that come with this one, like the Suchomimus here, are the Metrocanthosaurus, of course, which is from Europe. Not too much is known about its anatomy, but it's still, he made it look more accurate to referencing other Metrocanthosaurids, so it looks pretty good. I have seen it. It looks pretty good. And also Youngish Angus, which is from China, which lived in the same formation as Chunkingosaurus and Maiasaura. It got pretty big too. That was about 9 meters long. It was pretty much one of the top competitors in that ecosystem. So yeah, I think this this edits came up pretty well. And one thing that I didn't add on here, but he's Black Frog's gone back and done, is he made his own skins for each of these different alt species that he made. So if you want to go have a check out of that, I just didn't put them on here because I wanted to keep a little bit of surprise. If you guys want to go back and have a look at each of the alt skins for both the Youngish and the concavenator here, you're free to do so. But no, I think this is a very, very nice looking concavenator. Well, let's watch them fight. We'll go back into challenge mode and watch them fight. Shouldn't take long. Ooh. Someone's at low health. Ooh. Ooh. That's getting nasty. And now they're going to get grumpy each other and run away. Anyway, we'll carry on with this. Now, this one is not even a dinosaur actually. I'll tell you more about it once we reveal it, but this was done by Jagged Fang Designs originally for Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, and a mod that they had called Advanced Operation Genesis, where they remade and added a bunch of different animals for like a huge mod they were making, which recently got cancelled sadly. I think because the game is crashing and issues, but it's really nice to see these models actually being used in games now. So here we are. This is a mystery species. We'll let it out now. Now this is a very, very interesting creature. This is called Smock, which is a species of, we don't even know where it fits. It's definitely an archosaur, but we don't know exactly where it fits on the family tree. It could be a Rarasuchian related to things like Postosuchus. It could be related to things like Pestasuchus. We really just have no idea where it's placed, just because it has like a bunch of different features from a bunch of different archosaurs. So we really don't have a strong idea of where it's placed, though a lot of people do think it's a Rarasuchian. It really is up to your interpretation, or we need more evidence to definitively prove where it is in the family tree. But it's really interesting. It got pretty big. It was basically the Tyrannosaurus of the late Jurassic of Poland, and lived with Logwastia, which was a giant diectodont that believed to get to the same weight as like an African elephant. Maybe a little bit overestimated, but still very huge. This is basically just before the dinosaurs started to take over and become the dominant animal of the of the world. So this was like the last real weirdie before the dinosaurs took over. I think it looks very interesting. I really like how they did the skin as well. So look at that. I really like the skin with the green and the splotch patterns. I think the textures could be improved, but then again, as I said, this was for Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which is a very old game which probably wouldn't handle too many good textures. So if they were to remake it for Jurassic World Evolution or Prehistoric Kingdom when it's out, I think the textures could be greatly improved. But other than that, it was very good. Very interesting to see how similar Smok was to dinosaurs, because it's definitely not a true dinosaur, but it was occupying a similar niche in the ecosystem of late Jurassic Poland. It looks very cool. I really like the look of it. Smok is a very interesting animal if you want to read up on him. So yeah, I think he's going to have a fight. He was, but not anymore. So we have a look at the different skin. This is the Arid Skin. It's supposed to have an Arid Skin unless that's just literally just the same. Oh yeah, we can see I can see the difference. It's a lot more yellowish rather than greenish. I'm guessing they're fighting again. Let me see the fight. Concavenator versus Smok. We'll have a quick look while we're... See what happens here. Oh. They're just gonna run around killing each other. It's just like how beautiful that Smok looks. Smok is such a cool animal. Well, then again, all these animals are cool animals, so can't really rush. Now that we've done all the carnivores, let's move on to the highly anticipated herbivores. Now we've got some pretty heavy hitters. We'll start off with first. We've got a replacement, also done by Jagged Fang Designs. It's a different species of Stegosaur, but it's also from China. I'll just let it out and I'll tell you all about it. Now this is how do you pronounce it? Youngish Angus, yeah. I'm not good with my pronunciation of Chinese and such. From China, of course. Very interesting stegosaur. There's a lot of Chinese stegosaurs, but this is a particularly weird one. From the late Jurassic, of course. Like most stegosaurs. I'll watch it eat. I really like how they did they recently released the version that updated the textures, so it looks a heck of a lot better. And we can see it's even got accurate feet and everything. It looks pretty damn excellent. Also, what's really noticeable is these giant shoulder spikes, which a lot of stegosaurs had. So these ones are particularly wide, which is pretty interesting. But I think it's definitely quite a cool, unique animal. Looks very, very nice. It really does look nice, especially with the updated textures. And it's got the Thagomizers, which are very famous in all stegosaurs. I'll just watch it eat for a bit. I think it looks quite nice. I like the pattern as well with the slight counter shading. I see accurate feet, even though I think one of them has more nails than it needs. Feet are always the hardest to get right. So now you look quite nice. Quite proud of you. So this was also done by Jagged Fang Designs for Advanced Operation Genesis, which is sadly not going to happen, but at least we still get to see a couple of these nice models in game. So next we're going to be moving on to another edit by Black Frog, who just did the other two. So here we're going to have Maiasaura. We can see what's changed with Maiasaura. We'll move in. Oh, I messed up. There we are. So we can see here what's changed. We can especially see the changes in the head. See these, instead of having one weird unibrow, they've got some hornlets going on. I think some edits with the face, just to make it a little deeper. Also some along the tail, makes it a little bit longer. And around the boot. Of course, a list of changes is always provided by Black Frog. And he always runs right into... Black Frog's always good with that. He likes to post what he's changed just to give you an idea. He always posts a list, so you guys can go read that if you want to know exactly what he's changed. But look at this beauty. She looks quite nice. Maiasaura, not a lot of people liked Maiasaura in the base game, but I think this really gives it a bit more personality and makes it more interesting. Quite cute. Just watch a drink for a bit, because why not? Good mother lizard. Maiasaurus is really interesting because of how it got its name. It's been found with like huge kind of rookeries and nest deposits where there's hundreds and hundreds of little eggs. I believe their mothers came and cared for them, which is quite cute to think about. Evidence of parental behavior in dinosaurs. Watch her eat. She's quite a beauty, isn't she? She definitely is a good mother. Just look at that. She just chilling. Okay, while we wait for that, we're going to quickly get rid of the dead animal in here, because who doesn't like dead animals? R.I.P. Counterpart. So next, we'll see, we'll be moving on to... Now this one was done by Wheat. Wheat has edited this Stegosaurus to look more like Sophie, which is a particularly famous specimen that is relatively pretty complete. She is pretty much complete, which is, I think, at the moment at the London Museum of Natural History, but it really gives us a better idea of how Stegosaurus actually looked versus the preconceived notions of it. She looks quite nice, doesn't she? Now the problem with the rig is that you can't really edit them, and the moment you edit them, something messes up, so that's always an issue. I think we'll just wait until we get her to a nice point where she's standing, and then we get a good look at her and show off her new proportions. There we are, so we can see how look at the new proportions now. From Sofa we know that Stegosaurus had a much longer neck than expected, which has been tried to reflect as much as you can here. Because originally it was thought Miragaia, which is a stegosaur from Europe, had a weirdly long neck for a stegosaur, but it looks like stegosaurs, especially Stegosaurus, may have had a little bit longer neck than expected, which makes Miragaia look not quite as weird. There's also a lot of changes. The body's been lengthened a bit. I think I'll turn off the UI, and you can see the changes in the plates have been very orientated, and the tail's been elongated, along with a little drooping. It fits actually pretty well to the rig, and I think it really just needs new textures, because the textures of the base game Stegosaurus look pretty average. But I think that looks quite good. You can see the more accurate feet too. You can see the changes in the feet. Who doesn't? I like me some accurate feet. So I think we'll go back into capture mode and just watch her do her thing. She's quite a cutie. You can see the changes definitely with the long neck and such. Sophie's a very nice looking specimen. And there's even good skeletals. And I think there's one done by Scott Hartman. So if you want a good Stegosaurus reference for your own paleo art, just look up Sophie. She's probably the best specimen that we have. And even though I don't think she's 100% fully grown, but she's definitely got more adult proportions. I think she looks quite nice. She must be a sub-adult, I think. Very interesting, because a lot of these few edits here are going to be some big, heavy-hitting franchise dinosaurs, so that's why I left them for later. So we're gonna watch her drink, watch her do her thing. Quite a cutie. See her tail droop down a little bit. I quite like how that droops. It feels a little bit more realistic. It's just there. Too bad you can't edit the rigs, because it'd be a little easier to make it fit a little better on the rig if you could edit them a little bit. But yeah, can't do that yet, sadly. Make her work her way. That's a nice shot. Watch her swing her tail about. I swing my tail back and forth. I swing my tail back and forth. Yeah. Sassy gal. Now we're moving on to the next one. We've got another one done by Wheat, and we did the next one as well, but I'm just going to keep reading that. We have got Triceratops. Now we've got, who doesn't love Triceratops? A very nice looking dinosaur. Wait to run over here. Look at that. Yeah, now we can get a good look at her. So look at that, isn't she a beaut? Now we can see a lot of the very major changes here. A lot of changes in the skull here. We can see the big updates in the frill along with the horns. You can see the horns. It's a bit speculative, but very interesting. The horns curve up a little bit of extensive keratin. Along with the beak here, the beak's been changed quite a lot. I think the specimen's based on Hatcher, which is a very big Triceratops. We can see a lot of the changes here, especially around the body. The back's been rounded out a bit. Tail's been shrunk down a bit. Back legs have been heavily modified. This is a pretty heavily modified trike. You can see how different this is from the Jurassic World one. This is a more accurate one. Also see that they've also incorporated the semi-sprawling posture that is quite famous in ceratopsians that are big like this. They have a semi-sprawling posture in their front limbs, but pretty straight back limbs. And we could even see the change in the feet now. I think the feet could use a little bit more love. Let's see here, he's got a little bit of puckering elbows, and the feet could use a little bit of work. But no, overall, very, very nice. I cannot complain much at all. Still looks nice. Now, there's two species that you can download from this pack. There is the first species, which is Horridus, Triceratops horridus, and then you can download Pororosus. Either one you can mix and match, because you can't have both at the same time. So the things what makes it interesting about these species that they're believed to be an example of anagenesis through the fossil record, which means Horridus is the older one, which evolved into Pororosus. So that's a good idea of evolution through time. Still a very interesting animal. We'll watch it do a thing. Now there's also two versions of those species. There's the Echo Green Skin version, which is just been exaggerate the scales a little bit. The sad thing is that we can't really get that accurate textures yet, because we have some pretty good skin impressions from Triceratops, which shows that we have like croc-like scales along the belly here, along with these scales on the back that kind of I don't need to describe the shape, but they have like a hexagonal and different patterns along the back, along with like these little sticky out bits that are affectionately called little nipple scales, which are quite funny. I think that would really be cool to add a new texture to the Triceratops and give it like a new look. It's actually quite more similar to the Taurosaurus. So imagine something like that with the this trike would look pretty interesting. And then really give it a more unique profile. Looks very, very good. I cannot complain at all. Other than the textures and some edits on the front feet and legs, I think this is damn near one of the most perfect models. Just looks so good. Nice to get some more famous movie dinosaurs, get some heavier walls. Watch I have a drink. She's a beauty. So if you guys want to give a crack at those textures, I think wheat would allow you to do use them. So use this model. So be the guests, and I will definitely put it in a video because I am a major fan of these accurate dinosaur mods. That's why I've made 5 parts of these. So now we're going to be moving on to the penultimate animal that was also made by wheat. Now we have, this has been one of my, this dinosaur, Brachiosaurus, has a special place in my heart, so I'm really happy to introduce Brachiosaurus into the park. So, what's this? Now look at you absolute beauty. So now we can have a quick look at all the different changes that he's made. We can see the neck spin, especially around the shoulders here. We can see huge edits around the shoulders to make them a little bit more pronounced. See, the back legs have been slimmed up a bit and the feet have been changed. You can see that they have a little more bulbous back feet, especially the front feet, because a lot of people don't realize how weird sauropod feet are. We can see, it sucks in the grass, but we can see how different. It's like a horseshoe shape for the front legs, and this weird like elephant shape with these huge turtle-like, tortoise-like claws in the back. So it's very weird. We can also see, now we know that it wouldn't have nails, but that's just the fault of the texture. But the feet in the general shape's pretty accurate, so I'm quite happy with that. Look at that, just look at this beast. Oof. You can see all the changes around the feet here. We can also see a lot of changes around the back, especially around the chest here. Chest has been more pronounced. And on one edit that I was pretty adamant on, because I helped edit this one. I didn't do anything, but I just helped check its accuracy. Is I lengthened up the tail a little bit, because this is based on actual Brachiosaurus, or Brachiosaurus anthrax, which is from North America of Morrison. The one in Jurassic Park is actually more based off Giraffatitan, which at the time was Brachiosaurus brachii, which is from the Tendaguru Formation in Africa, around Tanzania. So this looks a lot more like actual Brachiosaurus. So it's got the longer tail and the more exaggerated tummy and such, bigger chest. And also see around the head here, we can see the changes. It hasn't got quite the noticeable big ridge that it has like Giraffatitan, but it's definitely still quite noticeable. And it's got a little bit more of a boxier, longer face, unlike Giraffatitan, which has a lot more of a taller face. But I think it still looks just as great. And Wheat plans to put out a Giraffatitan eventually. But no, I think this is very, very nice work. Can't wait to see his Giraffatitan. It'd be really interesting to have some more speculative, like maybe a dewlap here and some more soft tissue around the mouth here, because we know that it's possible that, at least you can see the nostrils up here, they'd probably be better moved down here. And plus, since we know that from looking at the texture of the skull, that it's possible that Brachiosaurus and other sauropods had a lot of soft tissue around their face. So I think that looks great nonetheless. Very, very, very nice. I'll just let her walk and do her thing. Just see, those little changes just make it look that much better. Now the only real inaccuracy is that obviously the nails and the nostrils, but a Brachiosaurus would probably not hold the neck so straight up, because like most tetrapods, they would probably hold their necks at about a 45-degree angle. So something like this high would probably not be the resting pose. They might be able to put it this high temporarily, but they wouldn't have their necks so high like that all the time. We'll just watch her make her way. I think we're going to try and sit over here and watch her do her walking thing. Look at that. So you can see why a lot of people love Brachiosaurus, especially myself. It's just so iconic. I remember seeing it in Jurassic Park for the first time. I was always a dinosaur nut and an animal nut, but that's just like, that scene is just like one of the most perfect scenes in history of cinema. Very beautiful. Look at her waltz past with just such grace. She exudes pure confidence. Watch her have a drink. So tall. Just gonna bend over. I really like how Wheat did the neck as well. I think they did a very good job. You'll see the Triceratops and Youngish or however you pronounce it. Yusheng, I think. Look at that, now she's raising back up. See if she'll go eat the from the feeder. Some little dinosaurs hanging around. Oh, she's making her way now, by the looks of it. So look how tall she is even next to the redwood. She's like basically halfway up it. No, now she's waltzing her way through. So even next to the other dinosaurs, she looks gigantic. See a Stegosaurus here. Believe it or not, Stegosaurus is also from the same formation, so Stegosaurus and Brachiosaurus would have probably met in some occasions. Such a gigantic, lovely dinosaur. But we've been not only just the penultimate, because we've got some. There was a huge mod that just dropped, which changes an animal. I'm not going to spoil it yet. I've already spoiled Concavinator. It was just wow. It changes it so much. I just want to watch a lovely Brachiosaurus here having a yummy feed. Hungry gal. Look how wide she is. We also see the dew claw there, which is common in a lot of sauropod dinosaurs. They often have that dew claw there. Some even lost it. Some even lost their toes. Like a lot of the really derived. Like some of the derived dinosaurs completely lost their toes even, or their nails. Very interesting. As they like make this pseudo hoof here. Really interesting for when he makes that Giraffe Titan, because really there's not too much difference between Giraffatitan and Brachiosaurus itself. Really, it's mainly just the head. It's got a little bit taller neural, and chest is a lot tighter, and tail is a lot shorter. Pretty minor edits to make a nice Giraffatitan. Especially with the longer tail. You need a shorter tail though. Very nice big girl. She even makes Triceratops look small. So now she's gonna go and do her thing. Okay, now we're gonna be moving on to the penultimate animal. Now this is done by good old Digital Duck, who made the amazing Spinosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex. So we're gonna move on and show his new Ankylosaurus. Now it's so good it even comes with a bunch of new skins. So I'm gonna go through every little skin with you because he put a lot of work into them, and I felt like I need to do that for him because he made a skin that I really like, I requested. So I'm gonna do it quite nice and show you all his skins he made, all the effort he put in. So we're gonna be starting off with the basic skin. Now we can see how different that Ankylosaurus looks. Let's see if we can get a spot where he's stopped running so we can get a good look at her. I think she's going for a drink. Now we can see all the huge changes that she's made for, that Duck's made for, not she, it's a he, man. We got for, I was thinking she because all the dinosaurs in the game are she. But anyway, we have a look at this base skin's actually still quite nice. It's got a little bit of a fleck of orange. It's not too extremely bright. We can see the huge changes here. We can see the osteoderms on the side here. We can see the accurate toes here. See, only 3 nails with 2. Same with the back. See, the head's been changed quite a bit to reflect what we know of Ankylosaurus, along with these legs. We can see the osteoderms have changed quite a lot. Osteoderms, these are what they're called, osteoderms, which are basically bits of bone sticking out of the skin. We can see they're pretty accurate to what they were in life. We can see these big ones along the back as they move back into the on the side here, and then get a little bit spikier as they come down to the tail, and then end in this huge tail club, which would be used to defend itself from predators, especially Tyrannosaurus, which lived with it. Very, very, very nice. Really love this color as well. It's a really cool example of evolution as well, because these are osteoderms here. The reason they're shaped like that is that when a dinosaur would come and bite onto it, it'd basically go in between the teeth and like crack teeth and stuff, so it would be painful and not want the, obviously deter a hungry Tyrannosaurus from biting it. But this shows a good coevolution with a Triceratops here, with the massive frill and big horns, and the Ankylosaurs osteoderms and club tail, and how that evolved along with Tyrannosaurus as the main predator. It's a good example of a predator-prey relationship, which you don't see too often in the fossil record, but it's really cool to see how that affected, because we know quite a lot from like Hell Creek and the Morrison, which is pretty awesome. Isn't the Brachydae looking majestic? So this is just the basic skin. We've got 4 more, I think, to look at, all looking incredible. So the next one, we've got the woodland skin. Now I have to say the woodland skin's my favorite, just because I like the orange. It makes me think of like animals in nature when they're brightly colored, like red or blue orange like this, like blue-tongued skinks or dart frogs, it's a big message to say, stay away from me. I'm dangerous. I'm poisonous. No, that's just quickly going here, saying I'm big, I'm dangerous, leave me alone. And I think that's well reflected in this one, because it reminds me a lot of the Saurian one. It looks a very, very nice looking skin. It really is. This is the one I suggested, and I think it came out extremely well. So now we'll move on to the next skin to show off. Here we've got Rainforest. Now this one's a lot more green, and I think it's a lot more subtle. I really like how this one came out. It's a dark green along with the black and darker colors of this Ankylosaur. I think that also fits quite well. Good contrast to the woodland one, which is quite bright, and this one here. Very nice contrast. And we see the jungle one. Now this one's quite a bright green, which also does look quite nice. Who doesn't like that? Ooh. See it on the osteoderms as well, which I quite like. So very, very brighter compared to, not quite as bright as the woodland one, but still quite a nice bright skin. And then last but not least, we got the wetland. Now look at that. Now this is like a quite more bright yellow one, which I think also came out quite well. They all did come quite well, didn't they? Very nice brighter one, especially seeing the colour on the head. Really does look excellent. You can see how chunky it is from that angle. Look how wide it is. A very wide boy. Very, very wide girls. Who doesn't like their girls wide? I certainly do. I like me wide. But I love this skin the most. This is still quite a nice skin, this one. I think woodland, my two favorites I think are the null, just because of how good it looks. I really like the null one since it's so subdued, but also the orange one because it's quite bright as well. But all of these skins are all I quite like. I would use them all. I'm usually not a big fan of using all the different skins, but I would definitely use them if I just wanted some variety. All look extremely good. I cannot complain at all. And now for the little fun final piece, I think what we'll do is have a little bit of a fight, because who doesn't love a nice little fight? Here we've got a fight that would have probably actually happened in about 66 million years ago in Hell Creek. We're going to have the new beautiful Ankylosaurus done by Digital Duck. We're going to have to fight another one of his creations, who's been a reoccurring character. We've had Sue the T-Rex. So first we're going to release, but to make it fair, I thought, because obviously Ankylosaurus is a very, very tough animal, and I don't think the in-game animal reflects that. Plus, I did do a test fight, and the Tyrannosaurus had 70% health left after it fought the Ankylosaur. So I thought, maybe let's make it a little bit more fair, and I increased the defense and the attack of the Ankylosaurus, which to a much more fair level, considering it has basically huge osteoderms and a bone club which could shatter thighs. So I think that makes it a more fair. And we just kept the Tyrannosaurus just a normal base, but it still has an higher attack, so I just made it a little bit more fair, because obviously it's going to have an higher attack because it has bone crushing jaws which can bite through cars and such. So I think that's basically as fair as we're going to get it, and probably as more accurate as we can get. So first we're going to release Ankylosaurus. And I picked the woodland skin because it's my favorite. And you can see the accurate toes as well. I love the accurate toes. So good. So good. I really cannot complain about this real beautiful Anki. Look how wide. The face is wide. Everything about it is just super duper wide. Probably one of the best mods that have come out for a while. It's so good. And Carnotaurus is so awesome. If it wasn't for the Ankylosaurus, I think the Brachiosaurus would have been the sleeper hit of this. The two I think that I've enjoyed the most is the Brachiosaurus and the Ankylosaurus. But anyway, stop dilly-dallying, and we're going to release this Tyrannosaurus Rex to... We're going to set it up as this... It's Hell Creeks, maybe somewhere in the uplands, where a hungry Tyrannosaurus is looking for prey and stumbles upon a small clearing in the forest and spots this Ankylosaurus. Go to capture mode and watch this fight go down. Oops. Anki's like, oh no. But look who's about to go in again. Like the meme, oh shit, here we go again. Rex is already ready. We'll move it over here. Have a nice Anki coming back to square up. The sea gets the first hit in. Oh, Rex gets the first hit in. Oh, oof! Now that's a pretty heavy hit from Anki. Oh, boof! Another good hit in from the Anki. Oof! Damn! That really... That was a very one-sided fight, wasn't it? That T-Rex just got owned. Really did. It really shows the power of these animals. With these bone... Even the Tyrannosaurus had a little bit of a hard time going against this Ankylosaurus. With its incredible tail club, which was incredible, of course. So that was a fun little fight. I think I'll quickly go get rid of this. We want to go get rid of this T-Rex. So obviously I'm going to put all these mods in the description, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys like and subscribe, of course, and bye bye.